Yes, the FIA are killing the sport we love, Formula One, because of the new 2026 cars apparently being able to reach 250 miles an hour. They are introducing speed limits. It's driving me mental. This is F1 Grandstand. I'm Tony Craig, and if you are an F1 fan, you are in the right place. Hit the subscribe button and the bell button now. Join the community and get involved. Now, this story broke. I broke it earlier today, but this story is coming from Alex Turk, The Express. It's driving me mental that the FIA are going to limit the level of power that F1 cars can generate as part of like a multiple strict safety rules for the new 2026 regulations. Not only do we have to put up with the electrification to, for all the reasons why they're doing that, we then get cars which might get to 250 miles an hour on the straight, but they think it's going to be too fast for certain tracks. And it's going to be the fastest grid in the sport's history, but they're going to put restrictions in place for at least 2 tracks to keep the speed under control. Now, am I missing something? Like, isn't the bottom line about motorsport, manufacturers build the fastest car they can build, and then the driver has to drive the fastest car they can build around a track which has corners in it, which are natural speed restrictions, and then it's about the driver's skill to keep the car going round the corner and not coming off the track. Like, what's the difference? Build a car that does 400 miles an hour. It's still the driver's responsibility to manage the car around the track. It is not the FIA's responsibility to impose speed limits on those cars. It's absolutely insane. And how are they going to do it? Well, they're going to basically introduce power modes named Rev 1 mode to maintain safety at the Monaco and Singapore Grand Prix. Well, again, I go back to the fact that a driver, the safety elements are called corners. Otherwise, we'd have one straight road, build a rocket on the back of the car to go as fast as it can possibly go in a straight line. The whole fact that it's a track means it's the driver's skill to get the car around the track. It's baffling me. It's driving me crazy. So at 12 of the 24 tracks, including the New Madrid venue, Spa and Suzuka, they're going to have a total of, this is the geeky bit, a total of 9 megajoules of energy is available across practice and qualifying. Up to 8.5 megajoules can be captured in the race, and they're going to differ from track to track. So in Jeddah, there'll be 8.5 megajoules of energy available in practice, 6.5 megajoules in qualifying, and 8 megajoules on race day. But what does that actually mean? They're talking about the power available from the battery element, which no one wants anyway, to sort of bump up that 500 horsepower from the internal combustion engine, which takes it over 1,000 horsepower. Now, the car's already doing over 1,000 horsepower now. So we're introducing 50% electrification into these cars. And now, because it's the electrification element, the FIA are able to tell the teams, well, on some tracks, you can't have all that battery power. Well, that's crazy. Why? What, if we're going to have electrification, go all in. Right, we need to be able to say to the teams, well, if you can get the maximum power output out of that battery and make it last 70 laps, good for you. That's your technology. And if your car can generate 1,200 horsepower, good for you. Good for you. Because that's the game. We've got to allow manufacturers to build the fastest car possible and let them cook. Let them cook. It's crazy that then they're going to say, well, these tracks are a little bit more tricky. And so what that those tracks are trickier? It's got to be down to the driver. If we're going to go for electrification and we're going to go 50% battery power, then, okay, new skill for the driver, manage the battery, but don't impose speed limits. Like, is that the craziest thing you've ever heard? For a motorsport which is a race, imposing speed limits by the governing body, like, that's like saying, well, what, that doesn't make any sense. So what we're going to do, make every car limited not by the technology and the advancements and what the car's capable of, but by what you say, the FIA, that car is what is safe. You can't impose a safety limit on speed. You can do everything else. You can limit the size of the engines. You can bring in electrifications if you want. But how can you slow down cars? It makes no sense. Let the drivers slow the car down by lifting their foot off the gas pedal. Let the drivers slow the car down because there are natural obstacles that slow the car down. It's called a racetrack. It's called corners. They slow the car down. And another thing, while I'm on my rant, we're all quite interested in the boost button, weren't we? We thought, oh, that's good. It's going to be like a driver can manage his battery, hit that boost button at any point in the track that he feels is the right time to hit that boost button for the extra power to do an overtaking maneuver. And that, because the thing about DRS, it was pretty boring, wasn't it? That one element on the track, on the straight, where you could get that DRS. And we're thinking, great, the drivers can hit a magic button to get extra power, and if they want to overtake somewhere else on the track, because they've chosen that's the appropriate place as the driver, we thought, yeah, I'm here for that. However, they've even taken that away. They're now saying there's only going to be one point on the track where the boost button's going to work. Basically, rolling back to DRS. It's only going to be, it's the same thing. So what are you doing, FIA? Like, if you're going to take the sport forward and you're going to go, okay, we're going to go electrification, we're going to have this available power, and the driver's going to have to touch a button and hit that power when he chooses to, which is way better than the current DRS system having 1 point on the track to overtake. But you've taken that away. It baffles me. And because of the problem with the electrification that you've brought into the sport, where there might be an issue where the cars may slow down at the end of the pits, end of the main straight, you're saying they're going to reduce the power from 100 kilowatts to 50 kilowatts. So you don't get max power on the straight. I mean, listen, I'm not a tech nerd. You know, I like the human stories in Formula One. I'm about that. I do like some tech and I do like some of it, but I'm not an engineer. But it doesn't take an engineer to understand that what you're doing is imposing speed limits in a race. We may as well be driving on the streets. You know, we may as well be driving, you know, on the motorway with a 70 mile an hour limit. How are people going to overtake then? It's insane. We need to get back to building the fastest car that they can build within the regulations, and then the driver managing the damn car. I can't see how. It's a freaking race. Sense check me. Get in the chat. Sense check me, because I am beside myself, annoyed about all of this. Because the FIA are basically nannying and killing the sport that we love. And it's just getting to the point where we may as well just watch all of these teams write a computer simulation, have no drivers whatsoever, and see who can write the best code for their driver to win. We might as well be watching a computer game. The bottom line is the drivers don't want it. This isn't the drivers asking for imposed speed limits. The drivers want their teams to build the fastest car. And if their team can build a car that goes 300 miles an hour, they want that car, because they believe they will manage the power of that car themselves. And if they run out of battery, they run out of battery. That's literally part of the new game in 2026. But that's what the drivers want. Give them full speed, give them full power, let them manage the damn car. The fans don't want it either. You've just got to let the teams and the drivers cook. I mean, that's what I think. But I'm going to get to the chat. Hey guys, hey Eric, hey Gemma, hey Yvonne. Sense check me if you think I'm wrong on this. I mean, I have to put up with the fact that we're going 50% electrification, which honestly, I don't want. I don't want them going to these hybrid. These hybrid systems, for me, are shit. We've got 15 to 20% electrification right now with the hybrid system, which is really complicated, where they're regenerating energy from the exhaust gases, which, yeah, brilliant, clever. But do we want it? No. No, we don't. Not really. And it's getting worse. But we accept that you're going to have this hybrid system because we're thinking, well, if we've got this hybrid system, but they've got the boost button that the drivers can deploy whenever they want to help them with overtake, because that's what we want to see. We want to see more overtaking. I get it. We want to see closer racing, more overtaking. I get all that. So if you think this is going to do it with these hybrid systems, all right, we'll make it fun. Make it so the driver has got instant power if he wants it. And now you're taking that away. Giving them 1 point on a track where the overtaking can happen and that boost button works. It's basically DRS. That's not an advancement, is it? Right, I'm gonna go to the chat. Hey everyone, hey Eric, hey Yvonne, hey Gemma. Yeah, Eric, exactly. They're professional drivers. And if you've ever met a race driver, a race car driver, have you ever heard one of them say, yeah, I'd like a car that's fast, but not that fast. Put a limit on it so I can't go faster. No, race drivers, real race drivers say, build me the fastest damn rocket ship you can. I'll do the rest. Right? That's a race driver. Build me a rocket ship. I will do the rest. That's a race driver. So yeah, and they're supposed to be. And if you're not that personality, and that's not who you are, you have no right being in a Formula One car. You have no right being in the pinnacle of motorsport. It's supposed to be the best drivers on the planet, managing that machinery around corners, which, as I said before, are racetrack speed humps. That's how they slow you down, because you've got a corner to get round. You know, that's the whole point. That's the skill of a driver. Can you get that car which will do possibly 250 miles an hour down the straight, but you've got a hairpin at the end of that straight and you've got to get around it. That's your job. Otherwise, drivers will literally have their foot flat to the floor and the computers will do everything else. That's the whole point of being a race driver. I've got a car that in a straight line will do 250 miles an hour maybe, but you can't go around a hairpin, you know, a 50 mile an hour hairpin. You have to slow down. That's the point. It's about how fast the driver can go round corners. That's it. So what are we doing? Imposing these speed limits for tracks that are a little bit more tricky. It's insane. So put a speed limit in Singapore, put a speed limit in Monaco. That's not the point. The point is those tracks might be tricky. They might be hard to overtake on. They're going to be difficult tracks. Drivers want difficult tracks. Just give them a faster car and see what they do. It has absolutely, as you can tell, driven me mad this today. It's really, really driven me mad. I'm going to go to the chat. Yes, Gemma, I'm on one. I really am today. It's one of those things that I think that if we go down that road now, we've already computerized a lot in Formula One. But if we go down a road of where the FIA can put speed limits on tracks and power limits on how much power you can deploy, what are we doing? We want it. The drivers don't want it. The fans don't want it. If you go too fast into a corner, you're going to end up in the gravel, right? That's the sport. That's what it's about. Keep the car on the tarmac. I mean, it's been like that forever. We build you a fast car. Your job is to keep it on the tarmac and go around the track faster than everyone else. It's your job to manage the speed of the car around the track. It's not the FIA's job to manage the speed of the car. It isn't. And as soon as the FIA stop managing the speed of the car, the sport is done. It's crazy. Yeah, Gemma says the FIA are a fun sponge. Yeah, they are. Eric says, it's crazy but unsurprising. Just like drag cars were too fast, so they shortened the quarter mile. I thought driving was their job. Sorry, this makes me so mad. Me too, Eric. It is their job. Like, I understand cars are getting quicker and quicker, but that means the skill of the driver is going to have to get better and better. And yeah, some cars are going to end up in the gravel track, in the gravel trap. Of course they are. Some drivers are going to find their limits because the car is going to be faster than perhaps what they can do. But that doesn't matter. That's a sport. Build a car that does 500 miles an hour if you want. The drivers still want it because they want to win races and they want the fastest car and they want to drive it. And Gemma's ordering a Scalextrics. Brilliant. Middle-aged rage, Yvonne. Yeah, you're right. It's true. How long have I been an F1 fan? So, good question, Yvonne. I've told this story before, but I used to race radio-controlled cars because we couldn't afford for me to do go-karting. So I always wanted to race cars. So as a young, I started racing radio-controlled cars at about 7. So I was watching F1 with my granddad back in the 80s. So I remember the John Player Special car. I remember Nigel Mansell, Senna, Prost. Like I remember watching Formula One where it wasn't safe. And I agree with the safety aspect. Like the work back in the 80s, like we saw people die in Formula One cars, right? We did with Senna in the 90s. Like we saw cars that under impact were not built as well as they are now, obviously. And I'm all for that. Cars on impact, all of the technology they've made, where they've made the cockpit literally like a cell which is impenetrable in a lot of ways, you know. And I think all of those technology, the technology around the neck and the technology around it's all about cockpit technology, about the crumple zones. I mean, all that stuff. I'm for it. You should build them a little. That capsule should be there to protect the driver under impact. I agree with all of that. I agree. The halo. I agree with all of it. That's done good work and saved lives. I just don't agree with imposing speed limits or power limits on the car. What class? So Eric, I raced buggies, electric buggies. But the race, I competed competitively in 1/12 scale. So I raced 1/12 scale Le Mans type cars. And I raced them at national level, and I represented my country at it as well. We went and raced in the European Championships in France. That was excellent. So I did race very competitively at 1/12 scale. But I love my buggies as well. I lived for it. But I raced it all the nationals. But it's like it was the next best thing for me. Radio control cars. It really was, because go-karting was so expensive. We weren't in a position to do it. We didn't have the money to do that or anything like that. So I raced. I loved it. I raced 1/12 competitively nationally, and it was. I absolutely loved it. So yeah. That was what I did. And he always said one day. Oh yeah, one said 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. Absolutely. So I raced 2-wheel drive. So I'm trying to think of my buggies. I had what buggies did I race? I'll tell you what I remember my first buggy was. My first ever radio controlled car, if you're interested, was a Tamiya Hornet. It was the evolution of the Tamiya Frog. And that was the first car I ever raced. Oh yeah. So I had a Kiyoshi, what was it called now? My buggy. I had oh God. It was a Kiyoshi. Throw some at me. You still got a grasshopper. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Tamiya grasshopper. So yeah, so that's how that was my introduction to racing. And then so Formula One I watched it, my granddad, my dad, and then I followed Formula One from the 80s till now. But the thing was about Formula One is that when you see the evolution for the last 35 years, we've seen the sport get safer, we've seen it get faster, and we've seen the introduction, the tech that has come into these cars now. Some of it good, some of it not so good. But we can't stop progress, even if it doesn't feel like progress for the sport. We're not going to stop them progressing and actually, you know, making the engines smaller, going to V6s from V8s, and when we used to have V10s. Like, we've seen that happen. Like, I still believe we wonder if the fans don't like the electrification of F1, then will there be a reverse to V8s? Will we even see a V10 again? It depends on the fans. The problem is, as F1 fans, we will watch the sport anyway. We watch the racing anyway. I mean, I would have loved to have a rule where Formula One is a sport where we don't have electrification, where we keep it pure. We keep it the internal combustion engine. I would like that. I like the safety elements of the design of the car, but then again, am I just a bit of a dinosaur? I mean, would I then be hindering the progress of the sport? Because out of these technological advancements in F1, we see them in road cars, don't we? So am I being a total, you know, dinosaur with my view? I would much prefer purely internal combustion engines. I mean, to be honest, I prefer naturally aspirated engines to turbocharged, if I'm really honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm really honest, I don't particularly like turbocharged engines. I like naturally aspirated engines. But we're never going to go back to that, are we? You know, it's oh my god, this is so good. I've got a little coffee to help fuel my rant, but that's the thing. So the FIA are, in my opinion, gonna ruin this sport if the fans allow it to happen. And but I do feel there's going to be pushback now, because here's the other thing that's come out by the FIA and the press about the 2026 cars. Yes, the headline that Toto Wolff has said, these cars will do 250 miles an hour or 400 kilometers per hour, he actually said. That's fine, but the aero's shit, there's no ground effect, and they're still going to go around the track about 2 seconds a lap or slower. So, yeah, you're going to get they're going to get these cars that might rocket down the straight. But we don't just want to see overtaking on the straight, do we? That's freaking boring as well. You know, some of the what are the best overtaking maneuvers we've seen? It's when they're going around some of the fastest corners in F1 and they are wheel to wheel. You know, so if these cars basically don't handle very well, and we know these cars right now in the simulator handle like a bag of spanners. We know that. Charles Leclerc said it. Max Verstappen's been saying it. The only person who's looking forward to, I think, these cars is Lewis Hamilton, because they're going to suit his driving style. It's going to suit a very smooth driving style and a very experienced driver who knows how to manage the tyres, manage the car. Those are the drivers who are going to do really well. And Hamilton's one of them. But the balls to the wall, aggressive, super aggressive driver hates these cars because they don't turn in as well. The aero's shocking. The cornering speed is a lot slower. They don't want that. They don't want slower cornering speeds. Slower cornering speeds suit smoother drivers, like old drivers, like you remember, like your Jenson Buttons, and Lewis Hamilton's like one of those, the smoothest driving styles. People even like, you know, you might even see that drivers like Fernando Alonso. But those sorts of drivers suit cars that have slower cornering speeds. The cars with this ground force here, with this ultimate grip, suit that very, very aggressive driver, and very like because they've got the grip, so they're able to do things with a car which those smooth drivers don't do. So that's the thing. So we're going to see these rocket ships potentially down the straight, slow through the corners, and 2 seconds a lap slower, by the way. We know that is a freaking eternity in Formula One. If your car is 2 seconds a lap slower in the right now, you know, you are so far off the pace. So yeah, so these cars are anticipating. I mean, we don't know whether that's going to be true. We don't know whether it's going to be true because we've not seen the cars on the grid in 26. We don't know just how good these power units are. We know Mercedes and Ferrari have been developing these power units for the last 5 years. And we also know they're not sharing the data with the FIA, which makes me think they're onto something. They've actually got some pretty good power units there. That's what I think. But yeah, it's a crazy situation because the FIA are saying these cars are from their simulations, by the way, it's simulations, that these cars are going to be 2 seconds a lap slower. They might not be. That's the truth. When it comes to race day in Melbourne, Australia in 2026, they might not be 2 seconds a lap slower because they say that because of the aero issue. But I know, and we know as a community, that Adrian Newey has found some loopholes in that. But when we talk about the aero might be different because of the way that they're going to have a flat floor. The ground effect here is done. But do you not think that Adrian Newey isn't finding other ways to generate grip? Mechanical grip. Because that's what it comes down to. They want the cars are going to be narrower. The tyres are narrower. They need to generate mechanical grip. Do you not think that some of these eggheads might be able to generate more grip than the FIA think on these current simulations? I think they will. I think the suspension is a key area for everyone. And if you think about what developments are being done on the cars, on the current cars, well, what's the main upgrade that's been coming? Suspension upgrades. Now, the reason why they've put money and time and development into this current year's cars with suspension upgrades is because of what they're learning from those suspension upgrades will directly pass through to the 2026 car. So when you see what upgrades have been delivered mid-season, the majority have been suspension. So yeah, the only improvements we're going to see on the current cars are going to be on areas of the current car, which will directly have an impact on the 2026 car. That is what's going on. Oh, so yeah. So Yvonne says, drinking coffee in this weather is strange. Why is it strange? Don't you love a coffee at night? It's because I do this show at 8 o'clock at night after a full day's work. I need a little coffee to pick me up. Not today, though, because I'm already furious about the fact that the FIA are imposing these speed limits through power limitations and power restrictions because of different tracks, which will be difficult for drivers, could make them more safe. That's enough, by the way, to have driven me into a frenzy for tonight's show. I probably didn't need the coffee, but yeah, I do enjoy a coffee while I'm doing the show. What, Yvonne? You don't drink tea or coffee? Why? Why don't you drink tea or coffee? Where'd you get your caffeine fix? You must have some vices, Yvonne. Tell the group. Tell the group what your vices are. Is it a little glass of wine, maybe? Something stronger? Yeah, Eric. Yeah, I agree. Do you know what, though? I've recently got back in... I'm going to sound like a... I'm going to tell you something I've not told my friends because they'd take the piss. I've recently discovered a taste for Earl Grey tea with no milk. Have you ever had that? I know it's a bit posh. Earl Grey tea with no milk. It's actually quite good. Yeah, it's actually a nice drink. But tonight it's coffee. It is a coffee because, yeah, it's a coffee-fueled frenzy, Gemma. That's what it is. I'm furious about it. But here's the big question. We're all in agreement. We don't want the FIA to impose speed limitations or power limitations on the car. The FIA can say the cars have to be 1.6 litre engines. Okay, you can do that. The FIA can say 50% of that car needs to be electrification, a hybrid system. All right, you can say that. But beyond that, you can't say anything else. Because what you've done is you've set the parameters for every team. Right, we've got a 1.6 litre engine. We're 50% electrified with this hybrid system. And after that, let them cook. And if they build a car that's 300 miles an hour on Monaco, in Monaco, in Suzuka, in Jeddah, wherever, I don't freaking care. Let them manage the car. Let the driver manage the car. It's what the drivers want. And if that car can go 300 miles an hour, then so what? Let them do it. You cannot impose speed limits and power limits on certain tracks under the guise of safety. You can improve the safety of the car by the way it's built, no problem. Improve the cockpit, introduce halos. You know, I don't care if you introduce something on a crash that the car turns into a giant round air-filled bubble that bounces down the track for safety. I don't care what you do, but don't slow the damn cars down. Right? That's what I think. Yeah, Gemma loves an Earl Grey. Yeah, that's right. And Eric loves it. I love that. I love that Eric likes an Earl Grey as well. I'm not on my own with this. Eric loves an Earl Grey. Gemma loves an Earl Grey. Oh, so you don't like stuff like Red Bull, Yvonne, but you do quite like chocolate. Yeah, everyone loves a piece of chocolate, don't they? Yeah, Red Bull. Can't stomach Red Bull at the moment. That's all because of Helmut Marko. Oh, by the way, on Helmut Marko, did you see the rumours about, was it the IndyCar driver? It's not Alex. Oh, the name's gone out of my head. You know the guy I'm talking about. Basically, they were talking about that IndyCar driver is absolutely fine. The name's gone out of my head. It'll come back to me. But Helmut Marko did a statement where he said, we're not going to recruit any drivers that aren't from the Red Bull system. He said, we don't bring in stars, we make stars. That's what Helmut Marko said. All right, Helmut. All right, Helmut. You might have a job here, because did you see what Isaac Hadjar said? Isaac Hadjar, this is unofficial / official. He's basically, the rumour is he doesn't want to take the second Red Bull seat, even though they want him to have it. He's unsure that car's going to be any good. He likes his seat at Racing Bulls, and he'd have to be forced into that Red Bull seat. Isaac Hadjar basically saying, I am unsure about taking that second Red Bull seat. I mean, if your sister team, star driver who's supposed to be getting promoted into your number one team, which is the Red Bull team, is basically saying, I don't know if I want to go. That's a problem. Don't you think? Like, Hadjar's not saying... Every other Red Bull driver says, yeah, I want that Red Bull... Racing Bulls driver has always said, I want that Red Bull seat. I want it. I want to be in that number one team. Isaac Hadjar, after his great debut season, his rookie season, is saying, I don't know if I want to take the Red Bull seat. There's a problem. There is a problem in the Red Bull camp. There really is. So going back to Helmut Marko's comment saying, we don't bring in stars, we make them. We make them. So, well, the stars that you're making, i.e. Isaac Hadjar, isn't keen on your number one seat at Red Bull, is he? So what are you going to do then? Force him to take the seat? I don't know. There'll be other teams coming in for Isaac. So yeah, Red Bull's looking more and more farcical to me. Yeah, Yvonne, he should say no to Red Bull. He is. That's what he's saying. You'll find the articles. It was in Racing 365. Yeah, Isaac Hadjar is not keen. Not keen. And actually, let's bring in Tubby George at this point. My man on the ground, Tubby George, has given us a little tidbit on that. And he says, further than that, Hadjar does not want the seat at the moment. He doesn't want it. So, Liam Lawson, by the way, he doesn't want it back either. He's quite happy in his Racing Bull seat. So, Helmut Marko is saying, we don't bring in stars, we make them. Well, the stars that you're making sounds like don't want to come into your number one team. So, you might have to bring in a superstar. Yeah, Eric, that's it. Thank you, Eric. Alex Palou, thank you. Yeah, he wouldn't join Red Bull. Alex, he wouldn't join Red Bull, but he's a great driver in IndyCar. But a lot of people say that would he be able to step up to Formula One? I mean, well, you don't know, do you? You've got to give someone a shot. And does Alex want to drive in Formula One? Just, you know, but that's the thing. If you've got a sister team, which, by the way, while I'm on a good old rant tonight, I think it's outrageous. I don't think you should be allowed to have sister teams in Formula One, because that basically gives you 4 cars on the grid that you control, which can impact and affect the race. How's that right? We shouldn't really be having sister teams, in my opinion. That damages the integrity of the sport. Because that basically means you've got 4 cars on the grid that you can potentially use to influence the outcome of the race. So why are we allowing sister teams? Anyway, I mean, it's obviously good for the fact that you can bring rookies through and et cetera, et cetera. And the FIA is saying, well, they can't share data, blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty sure they do. And I'm pretty sure they will. And I'm pretty sure that if you want a team order to go through to your sister team, I'm pretty sure it will. So whatever the FIA think, how are they going to police that? How the hell are they going to police one team talking to another? It's bollocks. Total nonsense. So yeah. So that is basically what I think about Helmut Marko's comments, and it's interesting. We will follow that Isaac Hadjar story actually. Eric's in the chat. If Max leaves Red Bull, I don't know how they recover anytime soon. Eric, if you think about the mess at Red Bull, Horner gone, Wheatley gone, Newey gone. If Max goes, what are they left with? A second driver who can't put the car in the top 10 positions. Yuki Tsunoda, who's lost his seat, by the way, nailed on, documents leaked. Yuki, I covered this weeks ago, but more confirmation of that being true. Yuki is out. He has not got a seat at Red Bull or Racing Bulls next year. He's looking for a drive. So he's got a 10 race audition now. 10 race audition to try and find a seat somewhere. Oh yeah, forgot to mention why George Russell's on my thumbnail. George Russell, the contract negotiations over there are not going well. George is basically holding out for a longer deal, and Toto wanted to give him a 1-year deal. It's a freaking mess. The contract, Mercedes wanted to spend this 2 weeks sorting out George's contract, and George has gone, nah, I'm having a holiday. And he's making him wait because they're not giving him what he wants. But George is making noises that he's happy to walk away. That might be, I'll be going into that tomorrow. I'll be doing a much deeper video about the George Russell contract situation tomorrow. But yeah, it's all going nuts in Mercedes. Red Bull's falling apart, and the FIA are trying to kill the top speeds of the cars and impose speed limits. Like, what is going on today? I think we should all be furious. It's been a freaking weird day in Formula One. So I will be following all of that story. We'll bring you more news as it comes out with the FIA on this freaking regulations, to these safety regulations to impose speed restrictions or power restrictions on certain tracks. I hope they don't do it. I hope that there is a sensible conversation between the teams, and how they manage the power themselves. I hope there is, but we'll find out. It isn't good news for the people though, like Ferrari and Mercedes, who have built solid power units. I mean, it isn't good news if the FIA can start imposing power restrictions, because if you've built a power unit that can deliver more power for longer, shouldn't you be allowed to do that? If you've delivered a hybrid power unit that can deliver more power for 70 laps in the race, and that's better than what other people can build, then shouldn't you be allowed to have that power unit? Why should the FIA say no? You can't have a power unit that delivers that extra power. You can't have a power unit that's better than everyone else's. That's the point. That is the point. Yeah, I'm going to move on. That's funny you should say that. I'm going deeper into the George Russell contract situation tomorrow. I'm waiting for some conversations happening later tonight with Tubby George. He's finding out for us what's going on. So that'll be tomorrow. You will see a video tomorrow about what the real ins and outs of what's going on at Mercedes. It's going to be juicy, I'll tell you that. So yeah, crazy day in the world of Formula One. I hope that the fans speak. I hope that the teams speak out and they don't allow this to happen. And for God's sake, let the teams cook. Let the drivers cook. Let the drivers drive the damn car, no matter how fast it'll go. Let them manage the car. It's what they're there to do. It's what they want to do. Anyway, yeah, it's been a good old rant tonight. I've loved it. I'm glad everyone's feeling the same way and everyone's been in the chat. It's been really interesting. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Gemma. Thanks, Yvonne. Really lovely to have you with us, as it always. Thank you so much for watching F1 Grandstand. Please like, comment, join the community, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video far and wide. Let's get this community cooking. It does make a huge difference. And as you know, I am so grateful to every single one of you. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with some more news on the George Russell contract situation. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for getting involved. I'll see you tomorrow. Ta-ta.